On the morning commute, a young woman in a powder blue dress surrendered her seat to an elderly stranger without a second thought. Across the aisle, Daniel Reeves took notice.
Please, sir, take my seat.
He thanked her, and she simply nodded, gripping the rail. For the next 40 minutes, she stood in silence, her eyes tired but kind.
She's been standing for almost an hour. Why does she keep standing when she's clearly exhausted? Miss, take my seat. You've been on your feet long enough.
Oh, no. I couldn't possibly. You have every right to sit.
I am getting off at the next stop. Go on, please.
Thank you. I didn't realize how much I needed this.
Daniel stood watching her sink into the seat, her face softening. He didn't know her story, but he knew she deserved more than a train seat. And in that small gesture, a seed was planted that would grow into something much larger than either could have imagined.
I am Daniel. You looked like you were carrying the weight of the world. Everything okay?
I am Sarah. Just a long day ahead. I work at a hospice a couple hours from here.
A couple hours? She's exhausted, and she still gave up her seat. That must be a brutal commute. Do you do this every day?
Every day. There's a patient I sit with at night. He has no family. I can't leave him alone.
You are really something, Sarah. Not many people would go that far for a stranger.
He's not a stranger to me. Everyone deserves a hand to hold when they're scared.
The train slowed, the automated voice announcing her stop. She stood, gathering her bag.
Thank you for the seat, Daniel. And for asking.
He watched her step off the train, her tired smile lingering. Daniel knew her name now. He wouldn't forget. Later that morning, Daniel sat at his desk, but his mind kept replaying the tired smile of a woman who had stood for an hour.
Daniel, we need you to stay late tonight. The Henderson file can't wait.
Not tonight. Not again. Grandpa needs me. I am sorry, Mr. Harrington. I have to leave on time. Family emergency.
He walked out, the weight of the decision settling. 40 minutes later, he was at the hospice, his grandfather's hand in his.
Hey, Gramps. I am here. I am sorry. I can't always be the one holding your hand at night.
He never feels alone at night. Daniel? There's an aide who sits with him for hours. She's an angel.
An aide? I didn't know. Who is she?
We can't share her identity, but she does it out of pure kindness. Every night, she holds his hand.
Daniel looked at his sleeping grandfather, a hollow ache in his chest. Some stranger was giving what he couldn't. He needed to thank her. Over the next few days, Daniel changed his commute. Earlier trains, later trains, eyes searching every platform for a powder blue dress. One morning he saw her, a flash of brown waves and blue fabric, but the crowd was a solid wall between them.
That has to be Sarah. Just push through.
He shouldered forward, but the train's doors closed before he could reach her. She was gone. That evening, the hospice called. His grandfather's breathing had become shallow. Daniel rushed over. The night aide's chair was empty, the cushions still indented where she'd sat.
She stayed extra hours. He kept reaching for her hand.
I need to find her. Is there any way to get a message to her?
She's fiercely private, but I'll tell her you are looking for her.
Daniel stayed until midnight, holding his grandfather's hand, the weight of two unmet strangers pressing on his chest. His distraction became undeniable. Harrington summoned him, a formal warning typed and waiting.
Productivity's down 30%. If this fails, your role isn't safe.
Failing work, failing Grandpa, but I can't let go.
Night brought his sister's call from the hospice, frantic, tearful. Grandpa had asked for the night aide.
He's never requested anyone. Why this stranger?
She said the aide stayed past her shift every night, the only one who could calm his fear.
I'll be there. Tell him.
The phone creaked in his hand. A stranger held his grandfather's peace, and Daniel was nowhere.
Sarah. The aide. I need to find them both. I owe a debt I can't even name.
He swore he'd visit every night, whatever the cost. Something was shifting, and he had to be present when it broke. The next afternoon, Daniel found his grandfather awake, eyes clearer than they had been in weeks.
She holds my hand, Daniel. She tells me I am not alone in the dark.
The night aide? What's her name? Gramps.
But the old man's eyes drifted, the lucid moment slipping. He shook his head faintly, already retreating.
Please, Joyce. I need to thank her. Anything.
I can't share her name, but you could leave a note. I'll make sure she sees it.
A note. If she sees it, maybe she'll come forward.
He found a pen and a scrap of paper. The words came fast, simple. To the angel who watches over Henry Reeves. Your kindness is a debt I carry until I can repay it. He pressed it onto the door. Tonight, someone would read it, and he hoped it would lead to a name. 3 mornings later, the train swayed with its usual crowd, and there she was, Sarah, gripping the rail, powder blue dress, eyes heavy.
Sarah, I've been hoping to see you. How are you holding up?
Daniel, I am okay. Long shifts, but I manage.
You look exhausted. Have you slept at all this week?
A little. I pick up extra shifts whenever I can. The patients don't have anyone else.
Let me buy you a coffee at the next stop. Just 10 minutes, no arguments.
You are stubborn, but thank you.
They sat by the window, steam curling between them. She talked about her work, her voice bright, despite the exhaustion.
I don't need much. Just enough to know I made a difference for someone.
The train delay announcement crackled. She stood, grabbing her bag, but this time, the goodbye felt like a beginning. That night, the call came. His sister's voice shook. Grandpa was fading, and the night aide was already at his side.
I need to be there. I need to thank her. Tonight.
He rushed through dark streets to the hospice. The corridors were silent, his footsteps the only sound.
She's with him now. He's been asking for her hand all evening.
I want to see her. Tonight. I've waited long enough.
Room 12. But be gentle. She's very private.
Daniel nodded, his pulse quickening. He walked toward the room, each step a debt being called due.
After weeks of searching, I am finally going to meet the angel.
He stopped outside room 12. A soft hum drifted out, a lullaby from a voice he almost knew. He placed his hand on the door handle, ready to open it and finally see her face. The door opened onto a dim room, lit only by a bedside lamp. A woman in a powder blue dress sat with her back to him, her hand wrapped around his grandfather's.
Thank you for everything you've done for him.
Her hand stilled on the old man's knuckles. For a long breath, she didn't move. Then, slowly, she turned. The face that met his was the same one he'd searched for on every train. Sarah. Her tired eyes widened, mouth parting in shock.
Sarah, it's you. All this time.
Daniel, your grandfather, Henry is your grandfather.
Time stalled. The train seat, the coffee, the lullaby, every small act of kindness now converged in this single room.
The woman who wouldn't take a seat had been carrying my whole family.
I didn't know. I just knew he needed someone.
They stood frozen, the impossible settling between them. Neither could speak, but in that silence, everything had changed. They found themselves in the 2 chairs beside the bed, the old man's slow breathing the only sound for a long moment.
I've been with him for 3 weeks. The agency just sends me where they need someone. I had no idea he was your family.
3 weeks. And I've been chasing you on trains, never knowing you were the one holding his hand every night.
I don't do it for recognition. I just know what it's like to be scared and alone.
She turned back to Henry, adjusting his blanket, her movements instinctive, tender.
How do you afford this? The commute, the hours, it's not fair.
I manage. I pick up extra shifts when I can. As long as the patients aren't alone, that's what matters.
Daniel stayed through the night, watching her work. When dawn broke, he could barely form the question burning in his mind. He left as the first light touched the window. Sarah remained in her chair, one hand still wrapped around Henry's.
I have to find a way to repay her. I won't let this be the end.
Back in his apartment, Daniel opened his laptop and began searching for Sarah's employer, a nameless agency with too many one-star reviews. The testimonials were brutal. Below minimum wage, no sick days, mandatory overtime with no extra pay.
She's been running herself into the ground for pennies. This isn't work, it's exploitation. Joyce, it's Daniel. Tell me everything about the agency that sends aides to the hospice.
The pay barely covers the commute. They're disposable. Sarah is one of the best, but they work her to exhaustion.
I can't let her keep doing this. I want to hire her privately to care for my grandfather.
She might resist if it feels like charity. But if you frame it as a real job, it could work.
A fair wage, shorter commute, a real position. It's not a handout. It's what she deserves.
He closed the laptop, the decision made. Tomorrow, he'd offer Sarah a new beginning. But first, he needed the right words. Ones that wouldn't make her feel like a charity case. The next evening, Daniel found her in the quiet corridor outside Henry's room. The words he'd practiced suddenly felt thin.
Sarah, I've been thinking. You deserve better than that agency. My family wants to hire you privately.
Hire me, Daniel. I can't accept money from you. That's not why I do this.
It's not charity. It's fair pay for the care you've already given. You've been carrying my whole family.
I won't be a burden. I've taken care of myself this long. I don't need handouts.
It's not a handout. It's a job, a shorter commute, decent wages, time to rest. You've earned it.
Her jaw tightened, pride warring with exhaustion. For a long moment, she couldn't look at him.
I can't take your money. It would feel like selling the kindness I gave freely.
Then don't take it for yourself. Take it for Henry. He needs you, and I need to give back.
The silence between them throbbed. She wouldn't meet his eyes, but she didn't walk away either. After Daniel walked away, Sarah drifted to the nurse's station. Joyce looked up, reading the turmoil on her face.
You look like someone offered you a life raft, and you are afraid it'll sink.
He wants to hire me, pay me for what I already do. It feels wrong to take money for kindness.
Kindness given freely doesn't mean you can't accept help in return. That's not weakness, it's grace.
Joyce's words echoed something Sarah's father used to say, "Pride can be a shelter or a cage. Choose wisely." She walked back to Henry's room, finding his breathing more shallow. The monitor beeped an unsteady rhythm.
Don't leave.
I am here, Henry. I am not going anywhere.
In that fragile moment, the wall inside her cracked. Receiving wasn't weakness. It was allowing someone to hold her up. She stayed until the early hours. By morning, the question was no longer whether she should accept, but how to say yes. When the morning shift changed, Sarah found Daniel in Henry's room, watching the sun rise over his grandfather's face.
Daniel, I've thought about it. I'll accept your offer, but only until Henry doesn't need round-the-clock care anymore.
Agreed. Thank you, Sarah. This means more than you know.
By that afternoon, the paperwork was signed. Sarah's 4-hour round trip shrank to a 15-minute drive.
It's strange to have time to breathe. I didn't realize how heavy the exhaustion was.
After her shifts, Daniel found excuses to stay. They'd grab coffee, walk through the park, the conversation flowing easier each time.
I've never met anyone like you. You make it seem easy to put everyone else first.
It's not easy, but having someone to share the burden, that changes everything.
The Reeves family noticed the change. Henry was calmer, and a new warmth filled the room whenever Sarah and Daniel were there together. Something had shifted. The debt between them was no longer about paying back. It was about moving forward. Together. Weeks folded together. Henry's color returned, his breathing steadied, and the hospice room lost its heavy silence.
It's strange, taking this train without needing to, but I wanted to. With you.
Me too. This line used to feel like a sentence. Now it feels like a choice.
They walked the park path, shoulders brushing with each stride. Neither moved away.
Sarah, I never mind.
What is it? You can say it.
Just that I'm glad you're here.
The words hung between them, not quite enough and not nearly finished.
I'm falling for her. But if I say it, I might break this.
They sat side by side as the city blurred past the window, neither speaking, both knowing the silence wouldn't hold forever. A new alert sounded 2 nights later. Henry's breath had turned shallow and uneven, and the monitor's beep became a countdown.
We're right here, Henry. You are not alone.
My angels.
The line went flat. Henry Reeves left the world with his hand held by 2 people who had become one in his final weeks. The funeral was modest. Sarah stood beside Daniel in a dark dress, her hand never far from his arm.
The service was beautiful. He would have loved that you were there.
I'll stay until the paperwork is settled, but after that, I should move on. The agency has another placement ready.
Move on? Sarah. You can't just leave. Not now.
It's what I do. I come. I comfort. I leave. Staying would be complicated.
She gathered her things. The apartment felt cold again, as if the warmth she'd brought was already fading. Before she reached the door, Daniel's voice cut through. Not a request, a plea.
Sarah, wait. I can't let you go like this. It's not about the job anymore. I am not asking you to stay for Henry. I am asking you to stay for me.
Daniel, please don't make this harder than it already is.
I love you, Sarah. I've loved you since that morning on the train when you gave up everything for a stranger.
I never thought someone could see me like this. I am terrified, but yes, I love you too.
The words broke the air. Sarah's bag slipped from her hand. Daniel crossed the room in 2 strides and pulled her into his arms. She held on, shaking.
I want to stay. Not as an aide, as whatever we are.
In the quiet apartment, the debt was finally paid, not in money, but in the simple truth that they were no longer alone. 2 weeks after the funeral, Daniel asked Sarah to meet him at the coffee shop. He was holding a thick envelope, his knuckles white.
What's this? You look like you're about to propose or confess a crime.
Open it. This is the promise I made the night I found you holding my grandfather's hand.
She unfolded the papers. The words bled into each other. Full-time, benefits, a 10-minute walk from her apartment.
A permanent position. At the local hospice. With benefits and no commute. Daniel, how?
You gave your seat that morning. Now I am giving you a new start. You deserve to be valued, Sarah.
Tears spilled over. She didn't try to stop them.
I don't know what to say. Yes, I'll take it. All of it.
Daniel pulled her into his arms, and for the first time, the future didn't feel like a gamble. He had given her more than a job. He had given her a life she never dared to want, and she had given him a reason to keep giving. The next morning, Daniel led her onto the same train line, the same car, a ritual reversed.
This is where it began. You were over there, standing by that pole.
I remember your face. You looked like you wanted to lift the world off my shoulders.
You were carrying so much, and you still gave your seat to a stranger. That's when I knew you were special.
I had no idea that one small gesture would bring me all of this.
Kindness has a strange way of circling back. You gave a seat, and I found a home.
The train rocked gently, sealing their words in the rhythm of the tracks.
Do you think your grandfather knew that we'd end up here?
I think he sent you to me. And maybe, in a way, you sent me to him.
They didn't need more words. The silence was full, and the journey ahead belonged to both of them. They stepped off the train into a park blooming with late afternoon gold. No rush, no agenda. Just 2 people walking into the rest of their lives.
I never noticed how beautiful this park is. When you are rushing, everything's a blur.
It's amazing what we miss when we're just trying to survive. I missed you for weeks.
Do you think we would have found each other if you hadn't offered that seat?
I like to think kindness has its own gravity. It pulls the right people into orbit.
He stopped by an old oak, its leaves burning orange in the setting sun. A familiar glint played in his eye.
I am not asking today, but one day, in this park, I am going to have a ring and a question.
Then I'll say yes. But only if you still give up your seat for strangers.
The sun dipped below the tree line, and in the closing light, they kissed, sealing a promise that had been written the moment she stood for an hour. Kindness wasn't a ledger, it was a circle. And on a train one morning, a single seat had led to a lifetime. Months later, on a crowded morning train, Daniel and Sarah rode side by side, their hands loosely linked. When an elderly woman boarded, clutching the handrail, Daniel didn't hesitate. He rose and gestured toward his seat.
Please, ma'am. I insist.
Sarah's smile deepened. She knew that look, the same one he'd worn when he'd first offered a seat to a tired stranger in a powder blue dress. Before Daniel could even settle into a standing position, a young man, a few rows down, stood up. He offered his seat to Sarah with a nod and a shy smile. She accepted, settling beside the elderly woman, who now watched the small chain reaction with eyes full of wonder.
Looks like the circle just keeps going.
It always does when you start it.
The train rocked on, carrying them all forward. The givers, the receivers, and the quiet proof that one small act never truly ends, because a seat offered is never just a seat, it's a door. And once opened, it rarely closes again. The train continued its route, the same hum, the same rhythm, but the world inside the carriage had shifted forever. Daniel and Sarah sat together, her head on his shoulder, their hands loosely clasped. They didn't speak. They didn't need to. The silence between them was the most honest conversation they'd ever had. Across the aisle, a single seat sat empty, bathed in morning light, the place where she had once stood, and he had first noticed. Other commuters came and went, unaware that a simple kindness had rewritten two lives right here. But the kindness hadn't ended. It had rippled outward, beginning a chain that would keep moving forward. And on a train one morning, a single seat had led to a lifetime. The train rocked on, carrying them into a future that no longer felt uncertain. The morning light filled the carriage, as it always had, and always would. And in that light, the circle closed, quietly, completely, peacefully.